Today's activity is inspired by Whose Hands Are These?, a community helper guessing book by Miranda Paul, illustrated by Luciana Navarro Powell, and published by Millbook Press. Read by our friends at the Kitchener Public Library with permission from Access Copyright on behalf of the publisher. Let's take a look.
Whose Hands Are These? A community helper guessing book. Hands can wiggle, hands can clap. Hands can rap and flap and tap, but hands can help, so raise yours please. Can you guess? Whose hands are these? Hoe and sow, these hands are soiled. Sweep and reap, these hands have toiled. In the barn, these hands are charmers. These hands belong to many farmers. Choose, peruse, these hands are picky. Mix and mash, these hands are sticky. These hands flip through food-stained books. These hands belong to gifted cooks. Stop and go, these hands are waving. Catch that guy, he's misbehaving. These hands help us keep the peace, so hold yours up. It's the police. Quest and test, these hands are turning. Test again, these hands are learning. Weigh and count, their work persists. These hands belong to scientists. Push and play, these hands are shaping. Wet with clay, these hands are scraping. These hands keep on adding water. These are the hands of one great potter. Taking notes, these hands are writing. Breaking story, how exciting. These hands can type or hold recorders. These hands belong to news reporters. Yank and crank, these hands are smeared. Reach and wrench, they've disappeared. When something breaks, these hands don't panic. These hands belong to a mechanic. Dream and sketch, these hands draw lines. Stack and build, they form designs. Measure twice, check all the specs. These hands belong to architects. Arms up high, these hands keep score. Throwing flags, they say no more. Each hand signs and oversees. These hands belong to referees. Rub and scrub, these hands are clean. Wearing gloves, these hands are green. These hands all have healing missions. These hands belong to your physicians. Come on in, these hands wave sweetly. Caked in chalk, these hands write neatly. These hands care for kids and creatures. These hands belong to helpful teachers. Greeting, eating, dressing, sharing, cleaning, caring, or repairing. Let your hands try something new. One day, what could your hands do?
Communities are made up of all kinds of people sharing their unique skills to create a special place for everyone to live. Think about what you would like to contribute to your community as we get started on our project. Before we begin, you will need to gather a couple full sheets of paper and some color or construction paper pieces if you have them. A pair of scissors, glue, some pencils and something to color with. Crayons, markers, or pencil crayons will work. Some magazines for some extra inspiration if you'd like. Let's start by tracing our hand on one of our sheets of paper and cutting it out. Our hands can do all kinds of great things. We can use them to make things, hold things, and even to appreciate and encourage our friends and families with a high five, round of applause, or thumbs up. Think about the story we read and how you would like to use your hands to help your community. Maybe you would like to use them to build houses or to bake treats or fix cars. There are lots of things we can do with our hands. For this sample, I would like to use my hands to make beautiful arrangements in a flower shop so that when someone wants to pick up a special gift for a friend, they'll have nice bouquets to choose from. Now it's time to add some detail to our hands. Let's think about what our hands might look like while they're doing a task. Maybe your hands will be wearing plastic gloves like a doctor or dentist, or maybe fabric gloves to help protect and keep them clean while on a farm or work site. Whatever your hands look like, it will be up to you. In this case, mine are going to be regular hands, so I'll add some detail by looking at my hand to see what I can add to the paper I cut out. I can see fingernails and folds of skin around my knuckles that let me bend my fingers. I'll use my pencil to add all of those to the hand that I cut out. You can also add any freckles, marks, or accessories that make your hands unique to you. Use some of your markers or pencil crayons to add color to your project. Now I'm going to give it a slight curl just by rolling it gently, and we'll set it aside while we work on the next part. Next, let's think about what type of tools or materials our hands will hold as we help our community. There are a couple of different ways we can show this. We can draw or trace and color our tools or materials on paper and cut them out. We can cut the shapes out of colored paper piece by piece like a collage, or we can look through magazines to see if maybe we can find an image of the tools or materials we are looking for. I like the freedom of cutting out shapes and rearranging them into a collage type image. So I'm going to use colored paper, scissors, and glue. If I were a florist in my community, there are lots of different tools I could be holding. Maybe some snips or shears or twine, but for this example, I think I'd like my hand to be holding some of the flowers I would use in my arrangement. Of course, your hand might be holding something completely different. Maybe it's a wrench or a hammer or a rolling pin or a handful of wet spaghetti noodles. Whatever your hand is holding is entirely up to you. You can use your pencils, markers, and scissors to make a unique tool or material from whatever papers you have around. Now it's time to put all of our pieces together. Use one of your full sheets of paper as the background. This can be colored, patterned, or plain. Any piece will do. If you're using plain white paper, maybe you want to draw in some details in the background a little later. You are welcome to play around with different ways of filling that space. We'll also need our traced hand and whatever we decided to draw and cut out as our tool or material. Play around with your piece and arrange them in a way you like. I'm going to move my hand out of the way and use my glue stick to glue down the flowers in the way they're laid out on my page. Next, I'm going to put glue on the arm, palm, and fingertips of my hand and press them down so that there is an arch over the flowers to create an illusion that the hand is holding them. Don't forget to add an arm or sleeve if your hand is floating in the middle of the page. You can do this by drawing or collaging one into your artwork. And there you have it, an image of your hand helping your community in a way you choose. You can play around with making more, maybe tracing your hand in a different position. We would love to see what you made. Share your image with us on social media using @KW Art Gallery. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and happy crafting!